I think this is going to be the most important thing that I've said since I got elected. And I don't take that lightly. Because what we're announcing right now is a very different way of doing public policy. It'll probably be grossly underreported question period today, which will be one of the less important things that probably happens in people's lives today. We are going to be starting, and I won't get into the details of it, I'll leave it to my friend here who understands these things so much better, a crowdsourced, open source, going on for several weeks, attempt to build a social innovation policy. So that we start a conversation today that is opened up to all Ontarians and all the world. I am told that no government, at least none in North America, has ever tried to do open source, crowdsourced public policy. We maybe discovered there's a reason for that today. But what we're trying to do is move the very nature of how we're creating social innovation policy outside of government by asking you to be a full and equal partner in it. By using a wiki collaborative platform which will be led and curated and facilitated. It will be based on some of the policy work. You'll see some policy papers that some of you in the not-for-profit and private sector have written online. You will see that some of the work already done by many of you will be the foundational documents to trigger a conversation. We will see experts from around the world on these subjects participating in it. We as ministers will also be on there giving our ideas as individual Ontarians about how we structure social innovation. It will also open up to people in the private and not-for-profit sector a sense to self-identify what you could do, what roles that you could do. You can now create part of this framework yourself, test out ideas. It takes, I think, one very important thing is it shifts politics from consumerism of trying to read the latest poll and these very linear, narrow slivers of these impacts that we have on your life where someone phones you annoyingly and asks you questions, to a full conversation with you as a citizen and not a consumer of politics. Creates the opportunity for you to develop ideas, criticize ideas, allows you to see the full policy statements and thinking of the whys, not just the whats of government, and play a key role in defining and structuring that. There will also be a committee, which myself, Ministers Broughton and Hoskins will be on, with many of you who will be invited to help lead in the actual world part of that conversation and maintain the links with the larger conversation going on in the virtual world. Eventually, through this cabinet committee, this will be structured as the province's social innovation strategy and go to cabinet through that. So this is about as hardwired as you can get to cabinet and the premier's office without getting elected, which to me is a blessing that someone should have. So I want to thank you very much for doing this. For practicing the craft of citizenship today in a dynamic way, for helping move us from a consumer society to a civil society of which citizenship and our craft of citizenship and how seriously we take it as individuals, to use the amazing technology that you have helped create through your investments and through public policy and start to harness this technology to advance democracy and to create a more inclusive and more dynamic public policy agenda at Queen's Park. And if we do this really well, my God, can you imagine how many, if we could do health policy this way or housing policy this way, I think it's going to be kind of extraordinary. But this is the first time. This is a completely new way of creating a democracy, of democratic action, and of creating public policy. Apparently, I am told no one in North America has ever done this before, and this is our social innovation experiment. So welcome to the world of public policy making, and thank you very much for the contributions I know you will make with such enthusiasm in the coming days. God bless, keep you safe. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Pardon me? Thank you.
Anthony Williams is a best-selling author, speaker, consultant, and, well, the co-author of Wikinomics and Macroeconomics with Don Tapscott. They have been at the forefront of gathering information through Wiki and understanding the best ways to do it. Anthony is going to walk us through our Wiki for social innovation so that you'll have a head start on being able to get involved with it. Anthony.
Well, thank you very much. And first, let me congratulate the ministers on such a compelling vision for social innovation. Very well done indeed. And also for launching such a bold experiment here. I think, the minister is correct in saying that this kind of wiki approach to policy development has rarely been done anywhere in the world, let alone in North America. So, let's congratulate ourselves on being one of the first provinces and one of the first jurisdictions to do this. So let me ask you, are you ready to make some history? Yes, come on, one more time. Are you ready to make some history? Yes. Thank you. Okay. Now, as many of you know, right, let's just provide some background on the wiki paradigm. Wikipedia turned 10 years old this year, in fact. And if you think about it, if you go back 10 years, how many people would have predicted that millions of, a loose amorphous groups of millions of individuals would create the world's largest repository of free human knowledge ever, right? 10 years ago, who would have wagered even a modest sum on such a proposition? Probably very few people. And yet today, 10 years later, 2 million, in fact, almost 5 million English language articles translated into 200 different languages. You've got millions of people who have contributed, 70,000 people who contribute still on a regular basis, and about full-time, 10 full-time employees. It's a remarkable accomplishment. Wikipedia, they estimate, is about 15 times larger than Encyclopedia Britannica. Now, it's not perfect, but it's constantly evolving, constantly being improved. In fact, there's new edits to Wikipedia every second of every single day. So, what we have understood with my colleague Don Tapscott is that Wikipedia was really just the beginning. We have this historic opportunity to leverage this new platform for collaboration to reinvent many institutions in society, from our political process through the way that we deliver healthcare, the way that we teach the next generation with new models of collaborative pedagogy and teaching and learning. But I want to say that perhaps one of the most profound opportunities that we have here today is to, as the minister suggested, to completely reinvent our political process, our approach to democracy and governance. And this has in fact been done a few times in the past. And in fact, Canada was a leader in 2005. With the UN Habitat Program, IBM and a whole bunch of nonprofit organizations around the world organized a huge consultation on urban sustainability issues. Some of you may have heard of this. It was called Habitat Jam. Now here is the remarkable fact. They realized that if we're going to have a world urban habitat forum addressing urban sustainability issues, we better make sure that we consult the people who are directly affected by these issues. So in 100 countries around the world, they set up little mobile cafes and internet cafes where people could engage. They reached out to 39,000 people, many of them in developing countries, some in North America and Europe. As a result of that process, over 72 hours of brainstorming, they generated 500 actionable ideas. Those 500 ideas were then distilled into 73 concrete proposals, and the 73 concrete proposals were then taken to 10,000 delegates at the World Urban Forum. So that proves that this process can work and generate incredible results. And in fact, I'm expecting nothing less than incredible results here. So let me explain how this is going to work. As the minister said, we have an opportunity essentially to co-create the policy framework for social innovation in the province. We've got a very short time frame to do this, but I know that we can do it. So today, we start here. We're going to brainstorm in the room. We'll have 2 sessions, one in the morning, one in the afternoon. Your ideas at the table discussions are going to feed directly into the wiki where they'll be captured. But that's just the beginning of the process, because starting today, and in fact over the next week, we're inviting all of you to continue this conversation on the wiki. And in fact, we're inviting a whole community of external experts who are going to join us there to help take what we create today and turn it into concrete proposals for action. We're going to start drafting this policy document on the 23rd. We're going to give ourselves about 3 days to turn it around. So it's going to be intense and we're going to need a lot of help. So I know all of you are going to be involved in the process. On the 26th, we'll have at least a draft policy document to then circulate for comments to the broader community. And on the 31st, it's going to be going to all of the ministers here today for their consideration. Now, let me just say a couple of words about the actual topics we're addressing. So in the morning, we're going to be talking about the promise of social innovation in the province, okay? Here's a chance to give us your big ideas to help distill the vision, talk about what you know about other jurisdictions. Let's allow that to inform, what we're going to do here in the province. We want some really compelling ideas. Now, we also know that there are many barriers and challenges to realizing social innovation. So think about it, from your perspective, if you're a social innovator and you faced obstacles in getting your initiative off the ground or in partnering with the private sector or government, help us understand what those challenges are. And if you're here from government and you're on the other side of the equation and you faced challenges perhaps in collaborating directly with the social innovation community, let us know about those challenges too. We really need to look at this from both sides of the equation. Now, on the other hand, in the afternoon, we're going to boil this down to very concrete tactics. And we want very specific suggestions. What can the government do? What should it start doing differently? What could it change? What could it modify? What could nonprofits do to help accelerate their ability to address social innovation challenges or all challenges in society? What could the private sector do? So we want very specific ideas. And in fact, one of the ideas that most people have already committed to is this notion of building a toolkit that could be used to advance social innovation throughout the province. So here's an opportunity to think about what are the resources that would go into that toolkit? What assets do we already have as a province that we can leverage? And what new assets might we need to create? So again, here's a huge opportunity to actually contribute directly to this policy process. Now, I have a modest target. I know that in this room there are at least 200 social innovation experts, people who really know what they're talking about, who have been there, done that. And in addition to that, we have 30 wiki facilitators. They're going to be sitting at your tables and they're going to be helping to take notes and feed all of this information directly into the wiki. Now, I figure that with the IQ in this room, each person is probably good for about roughly 5 good ideas, right? So if you do the math, 200 times 5, I think that this community can generate at least 1,000 great ideas, right? So we can put the World Urban Habitat Forum, we're going to double what they did, which was 500. So I'm really looking forward to seeing the results. And most of all, I'm looking forward to seeing you join us on the wiki itself. Here's a quick snapshot of the wiki and what it looks like. And I want to say that, by the way, contributing to a wiki is not intimidating. If you haven't done it, we've really done, the working group who helped us set up this wiki has done a fantastic job making it as simple as pie to contribute. If you've used a word processor, I guarantee you can use the wiki, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So let's get going, and I look forward to being back at the end of the day actually to report back on what we've been hearing throughout the day. Thank you so much.